Okay, so in this section, we are covering the outdoor areas. These are the outdoor areas of the campus, so the school grounds, basically. And this is a more complicated section than most. It's a longer section than most because there's a lot of mini surveys that are done for each of the different outdoor areas that might be on your school grounds. So like the other sections, you can get to it two ways. We can click on outdoor areas here, or I can go over here to the left, click on assessment, and then go down here to outdoor areas. So like the other sections, they start with a section background where you choose all the things that you have on your school grounds. So the outdoor area includes a playground. So is there a playground? So we have a K through 5 school that we're doing, so yes, it is a playground. Does it have outdoor classrooms? We're going to say yes to that. Does it have school have a football or soccer field? Does it have a baseball field? And the difference between a baseball field and a football field, they're going to be almost identical questions. They're just separated here so that when the report is generated, it's an easier way to describe the area that we're protecting. Does the school have spectator stands? Now, the spectator stands may be tied to the baseball field, may be tied to the football, soccer field, but there's some specific questions for spectator stands. Is there an amphitheater? Does the school have tennis courts? Does the school have outdoor eating areas like picnic tables? Does the school have basketball courts? And does it have other critical or outdoor areas? So if you say that you have others, it's just going to ask you to give it a name, because most of these questions from one section to the next you're going to find are the same. You're going to have a lot of very repetitive questions, although the answers may not be repetitive because these things are going to be located on different parts of your campus. So I'm going to click Save and Reload to get it reloaded, and now we have all the areas that we need to answer the questions for. So the first section, we're going to go to the section overview questions as always. So even if you answered none of these, that you don't have any of these, you're still going to answer these questions. So is there high visibility across the entire school grounds? Pretty much, does that mean that your security staff, your teachers, your faculty, your administrators, they've got good visibility across the school grounds? And this is kind of a subjective question, but you can just answer it yes or no. We're going to say yes. Are staff, volunteers, or law enforcement patrolling school grounds during student arrival? Now, this is kind of similar to the questions that we asked when we were talking about student transportation, but this is really more, are they patrolling the school grounds when the students are arriving? So we're going to say yes. Does the staff patrolling the school grounds have communications equipment to communicate with school administrations or law enforcement? So we're starting to have some of the sections overlap with each other. So this is a lot to do with communications and electronic security, but we're talking about the school grounds. So we want to know, it doesn't matter if you've got radios and stuff if they're not being used on the school grounds as it pertains to this question. So we're going to say yes. Are there video surveillance cameras covering the school grounds, including the athletic fields, parking lots, and playgrounds? So we're going to answer these questions individually, but this is the overview question about the surveillance cameras that are outside. And we're going to say yes. Are there measures to slow traffic on school grounds? For instance, speed bumps. Okay, you see those in a lot of high schools where you have the big speed bumps because the kids can't help themselves, and you have high-speed avenue of approaches in a lot of places if you don't have the speed bumps. So we're going to say yes. Is there signage on the school grounds showing evacuation routes, directing visitors to the building entrance, notifying visitors of CCV coverage, etc.? Okay, so in that case, we're going to say yes, and this is kind of an important thing just because this is a part of your facility security background. What do you have in place to make sure that people are directed? These are the inexpensive things that you can cover. Are there emergency call boxes that notify law enforcement? I'm going to say no. Is there an emergency notification system, like a public address system, that can be heard throughout the entire school grounds? And that's usually a yes, so I'm going to say yes there. Okay, so those are our section overview questions. I'm going to hide them, and I'm going to go on to spectator stands. Now, a lot of times, the spectator stands may be part of different areas, but they also may be kind of standalone. So are they openly accessible to students during school hours? Is that a place that students are using to hide either when they're supposed to be in class or wandering around? So are they openly accessible? Yes or no? We're going to say they're not. Are the stands openly accessible during non-school hours? So is it possible that people are able to get onto the property during non-school hours and get to the spectator stands? And we're going to say no. Okay, select all that apply. The area has security present during school hours. We're not going to select that. The area has security present while in use during school hours. We're going to select that. The area has staff present in use during school hours. We're going to select that also. And then the other one is the area has no security or staff unless it's being used. Okay. Is the area less than 40 feet from the perimeter of the campus? Now, this is actually something I've seen where the spectator stands are like 5 feet from the perimeter fence. And that we just want to know that answer, because you do have some mitigation controls that you do want to put in place if that is the case. So is the area less than 40 feet from the perimeter of the campus? We're going to say no. Are the stands used off hours for special events? So are these spectator stands for the football field? So we're going to say yes. And then when we're having these special events, is security present? We're going to say yes. Is the area monitored by video surveillance? We're going to say yes. Are there VSS and use signs posted in this specific area? We're going to say no. Does video monitoring cover the entire area? We're going to say yes. Does anything interfere with the VSS observation, causing blind spots or concealed areas? We're going to say no. Is the area of the spectator stands enclosed by a fence? So this is a fence that's actually inside the school grounds that is enclosing this area with the spectator stands, and we are going to say no. Now, does the area have a high-speed avenue of approach for motor vehicles? So can somebody get their car up to a pretty decent ramming speed and crash their car into these spectator stands? We're going to say no. Is the area illuminated? We're going to say yes. Does the landscaping hinder the illumination, causing shadows? We're going to say no. How is the lighting triggered? In this case, your answers are it's manually, it's automatic based on the time of day, it's automatic based on light level, or it's automatic based on sensors or intrusion detection system. So if you have an IDS system that detects motion, like a motion sensor, and that's how the light is triggered. So I'm going to say in this case that our lighting is triggered manually. Next, are there objects such as trash receptacles, vending machines, mailboxes where explosives may be hidden near the spectator stands? And I'm going to say no. So if you have more than one sets of spectator stands that are not part of these other things like your baseball stadiums, you would actually add it here. Okay, so next I'm going to close this up and we're going to go to amphitheater. Now, from here on out, pretty much they're all the same. Okay, so we have an amphitheater outdoors. Oops, maybe we don't. Now we go to our outdoor eating areas. Is the area openly accessible to students during school hours? Same thing. We're going to say it is. Is it openly accessible during non-school hours? We're going to say no. Select all that apply. We've seen all these questions before. The area has security present during school hours. It has security present while it's in use. It has staff present while it's in use. It has no security. So in our eating areas, we're going to say that we have staff only present. Is it less than 40 feet from the perimeter of the campus? We're going to say no. Is the area used for off-hours special events? We're going to say no. Is it monitored by video surveillance? We're going to say no. Is it enclosed by a fence? These are our picnic. We're doing our outdoor eating areas. This is like a picnic tables. Does the area have a high-speed avenue of approach for motor vehicles? We're going to say yes in this case because it's going to give us another question. Do we have barriers in place, such as speed bumps, The fence, we're not counting the fence as something to mitigate the high-speed avenue approach, because most internal fences are not going to slow down a fast-moving car as it's ramming into the outdoor eating area. So we're going to say yes, though. We're going to say we have speed bumps. And then it's going to ask us what the setback is between the barriers and the area. So is it less than 10 feet, meaning the barriers are pretty darn close to where the eating area actually is, which could be problematic. Is it 10 to 20 feet, or is it more than 20 feet? We're going to say it's 10 to 20 feet. What type of barriers are we using with this outdoor eating area? Bollards, planters, or boulders? Those are those big rocks, or the big, I don't know how to even describe a bollard, but it's the big thing that stops a vehicle, like a big brick, basically. Steel poles. Do we have a jersey barrier or a wall? Is it an earthen beam? Does our outdoor eating area have a spike system with tire shredders? Do we have a guardrail? Or is it something like a natural barrier like trees? Sometimes that's a really good barrier. Sometimes it's not. We're going to say we have bollards. Is the area illuminated? We're going to say no. Is there objects such as trash receptacles, vending machines, mailboxes where explosives may be hidden? Again, this is related to your outdoor eating area, and so we're going to say no. Now, again, if you have multiple outdoor eating areas, you would click this and you would add another outdoor eating area, and then you get to answer all these questions all over again for that second outdoor eating area. Since all of the questions are the same, I'm going to stop here. Now, if you do run into any questions, let's say, related to the football or soccer field, because you do see these are pretty much all the same questions, just reach out to us. We're glad to help. But in this case, since the outdoor areas, the questions they're the same sets of questions over and over again, I'm not going to go into each section because I don't think you want to listen to it. So this concludes the outdoor areas, which is basically our school grounds.